The Steelers wide receiver room without George Pickens will still be better than it was a year ago for the simple fact that DK Metcalf is who George Pickens thinks he is. The tough guy, the chip on his shoulder. DK has the physicality to back all of that up. You don't need to look any further than a shirtless picture of him for proof of that. But if you do require further evidence, and you've probably already seen this too, the highlight of him blocking against the Falcons last year, how he had AJ Terrell just completely locked up with one arm, just little brothered him. I remember a Ravens game a couple years ago, Jalen Warren run getting down close to the end zone, Craig Wolfley's voice still ringing in my head, and you got one of those penultimate blocks from George Pickens. That's the worst Wolfley of all time. But George is never going to be doing things like this.
I love on the outside. DK Metcalf going on AJ Terrell. Oh, get over here, little boy. What are you doing? Come on, son. Come on, son.
What we'll miss about George is the back shoulder game. I don't see a ton of that from DK in his tape, but he does have great hands, body control. I had to go all the way back to the Russ Wilson days to get an example of it, but boy, was it a doozy. Off a stop and go here, not a lot of separation there. And even through this contact here, look at that concentration. That is wide receiver one material. Simply put, Metcalf can do everything George can do and more. Behind him, you've got an unimpeded Calvin Austin at the Z receiver. You've got a healthy Roman Wilson in the slot. If Aaron Rodgers ends up signing here, and supposedly there's a handshake agreement in place that says he will, Allen Lazard will also likely be in tow. Lazard just reworked his contract with the Jets, took a significant pay cut, $8.5 million to stay there for one more year. It seems like they've opened the door and are gesturing furtively in its direction, and have all but gotten out the brooms for Allen Lazard in New York. But he's 6'5", 227. Pickens, for comparison, is 6'3", about 200 pounds. Intriguing red zone threat there with the size from Lazard. So if you look at the Steelers depth chart, as I believe it is presently constituted, there's still this gaping hole here between DK Metcalf and Brandon Johnson. I'd urge Steelers fans to be patient there with that. I don't think this is going to be the final group going into the season. Maybe somebody distinguishes themselves in camp or preseason, or they bring in someone like Lazard. It's going to be somebody fairly cheap. It's not going to be somebody they have to expend future picks for, because as we all know, they're hoarding those picks for a trade up for a future quarterback. Let's hope it's Drew Aller to DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin. That would feed generations of Steelers fans.